of this incredible company and community. Thank you so much for joining us today. And I am joined by the amazing Terri Besworth. So where do I even begin in talking about this fabulous woman? So Terri is our branch director in Coquitlam, BC. She is like leading an amazing, brilliant community out west for happy, healthy women. And she is also a health and wellness expert. She is so knowledgeable on all things conscious consumerism, which we're talking about today, and toxins and relieving our bodies and lives of that. And so Terri, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I love you so much.
Well, welcome. Hello, ladies. I have to tell you, I was just saying this to Nat before we went live. I just got back from a Tony Robbins event. So if you get me at like 110%, lucky you, because it was just so life-changing. So, you know, I've been so inspired lately about just how do we be better, right, Nat? Like, how do we just look better at so many things. So with what we do with Arbonne, as you know, I have an Arbonne business, Nat has an Arbonne business. And one of the things that we've been looking at lately is just what are we bringing into our home? What are we spending our time and our money on? And, you know, I have a really good friend, and I have to give a shout out to her if she's watching this. Her name's Catherine Bell. She happens to also be another Arbonne consultant, but a very, very dear friend of mine. And she just said, if you looked at your Visa statement for the last 2 months, would you be like cheering that for every single purchase that's on that Visa receipt? And I looked at her like, what are you talking about? Right?
That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you know, and so let me be clear. First of all, I'm not an expert in, you know, in like this way. I'm just becoming what we call now a conscious consumer.
Yeah.
Right? You know how we're consciously thinking about food, maybe choices, or we're constantly thinking about what maybe how we're using things and what we're thinking about with the planet. Now I'm just starting this next wave, slowly and surely, but what am I bringing into my home? Who am I supporting with my dollar?
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. So yeah, like let's definitely talk about this because there's so much when it comes to this, right? So we're in this sort of we're in this place in the world where like things are changing every single day, right? Rapidly.
Right.
And we kind of I just feel like I can't keep up with you know, everything that's happening, right? So I kind of I'm just trying to like stay in the good place, right? Like stay in the place of and so but a lot of what's changing, I mean, I think it's changing our perceptions too, right? Like we're seeing, I think with this pause, we're seeing a world that maybe wasn't working the best way. You know, we're seeing lots of things that weren't working. And so we've been given this pause. And so how does this tie into you know, what the world's going through right now?
Well, I think what we saw, and one of the things that was mentioned this past weekend was there's no going back.
Yeah.
You know, the best and the gift thing that we can look at in this whole situation is that we might not have liked how it was. And so there was an abundance of so many things. And you know, I love business just as much as you love business. So I love that an entrepreneur and coming to market, but do we really need 50 of the same one product of one thing, right? And so how this ties in, I would say, is we know the impact of the planet, that when we all make change happens for good. So when you think about an ingredient maybe you don't like in your product, or you think about how a company is behaving, that why would you go and spend your dollar at that company? Because think of it. When you spend your dollar, you're implying to them, I love what you're doing. You're doing great. Keep doing what you're doing.
Yes.
That's what it's kind of like voting, right? And so I became really aware of that. And so there's some companies, like my friend, Catherine Mello, said, shopping at Amazon. Do you know how much money he's made over COVID? Like he's made I don't even know, like so many zeros behind his name and so many hundreds of those zeros she goes, but what is he doing with that money? And I
Right.
think, we shop Amazon to help the smaller person who's making a living, and I get that. But I'm like, why would I want to support somebody who hasn't given back at this time? Given back, like you've heard of so many amazing people, even like rock stars and that are like feeding the homeless and doing a whole bunch of things that they're putting their dollar back into that, and I'm going to go listen to a Bon Jovi, is that his album or music, or support him because I'm passionate about what he's passionate about. Do you see what I'm saying? So,
Mhm.
so I think that if you don't like an ingredient in your skincare, if you want to make change and build homes or do things, but you can't physically do it yourself, you can spend your dollar at a company whose philosophy is to help and empower, and every dollar counts and every dollar matter goes toward that foundation. So for example, with Arbonne, we have our Arbonne Charitable Foundation, which I do not talk enough about, but since its inception in 2012, we've helped over 640,000 youths in North
Mhm.
which that's live and changed, like, and maybe I can't personally help a homeless kid on the streets, but I can go spend my dollar with Arbonne, and a portion of all proceeds go towards the foundation that enables that to be helped. Do you see?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so I mean, with our dollars, and for those of you who are just joining us, we're talking about shopping or shopping mindfully, or conscious consumerism, and voting with our dollars. And I truly see this as the way to actually make change, because that's the one thing that everybody is doing every single day, right? Like, without a doubt,
Yeah.
everyone is spending money somewhere. And so we need, as you said, Terri, to really choose where we are putting that money, because it's a vote. It's a vote towards a better world, right? And so I fully agree with you. And I would also say, where are we putting our time and attention, right? Like, who are we following on Instagram?
Yeah. Yeah, we already
Right?
talked about the mental currency, right? Like, I have to say, there's some people that I was following, and then I see them posting a gathering of 300 and some people, and I was like, does that align with the values and cores of who I want to be? And everybody has a choice, but I get to choose what I'm going to fill my mind with, and I'm going to choose what I get to fill my home with and what I get to expose my kids to.
Yes. Yeah. So let's talk about, there's also health implications, right? There's also an impact on our health and the health of the environment that comes along with conscious consumerism. So let's chat a little bit about, I guess, the different things that impact us, right? That impact our health personally, that we bring into our home, and that impact the world on a larger scale, right? So you and I are all about clean eating, using clean products, using things that are free of toxins on ourselves and in our homes. What kind of impact have you seen that has given us?
Well, I think it's choosing what's important. And I'm sorry if I keep going back to this past weekend, but what we really is what we feed our mind with, what our beliefs are, and then do we really live our life empowered by the beliefs that we have? And so one of the foundations that he talks about is, if you don't have your health, if you don't have this ability to connect to this energy and this power that's inside you, you have nothing. So it doesn't matter whatever else you stack on top of this, having this ability to create energy, and food is energy. And so what I've learned through having my Arbonne business, obviously, is that, learning about being in that alkaline state. So anything that, like coffee, ladies, like coffee, if there is one thing, well, there's many things I could get on a soapbox, but if you can get off of coffee, you have to drink 6 more glasses of water just to get you back to where you were. And it dehydrates your cells in your body, that it just doesn't serve you. So how can you have the energy you want to put out into the world? Right? So food has been a big thing, but you know what? The shift that's really empowered our family is that we then went to, no Ziploc bags in our house. Done. Then we took the next step and went to no saran wrap in our house, because the waste that comes out of our house makes an impact on the world.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And we just didn't want to surround ourselves with things that weren't serving us or the planet. And it's granted, this has been a 6-year journey, people. So if you're feeling like, what? How do I start? You one thing, but it starts first closest to you. Like, have you ever heard of whatever's in your surface, a round of control that you get to pick, and you start with you, and then you start with you, like it's a ripple effect, right? Is that answering your question?
Yeah, no, this is all great. And I mean, we're having a conversation around this because there's so many aspects of conscious consumerism. But I also, I mean, so we've talked about the impact on our health, on our empowerment, as individuals making the right choice, on the environment, of course, on who we're supporting, where we're spending our dollar. And the other thing that I just want to briefly talk about is price, right? Because quite often people make choices, and understandably so, right? Like, when you're looking at, say, 2 bottles of shampoo on a shelf, or you're looking at organic versus not, price is a factor for people, right? And so when we are looking at that, I mean, I've always been one to say, instead of looking at something and saying, I can't afford that, looking at it and saying, it's not a priority, and then see how that sits in your body, right?
That's a great one.
So when we're looking at, say, like an organic apple versus, and this is just a really simple example, but one that's not, and knowing the education that we have around. Have you seen the documentary, the Kiss the Ground, Terri?
I haven't seen that one yet.
Okay, so it's incredible, and it talks all about. So anyone who's watching, definitely check out this documentary, Kiss the Ground. But it talks all about like soil and how our food is grown, right? So huge. So are we then saying that it's not a priority when we look at our health, right? So what's your take on this?
Well, I can take it back even further. That, are you worthy?
Yes.
Right? Because really, at the end of the day, if I've learned anything in all the personal development work that's what's happening, is at the end of the day, you have to believe you're worthy. Because when you are worthy, think about a time in your life when there was nothing going to stop you. You wanted something, you were worth it. Like when I wanted to have kids, I was like, mind trap. Like there was nothing stopping this belief that I was going to have kids. So when you are believing it wholeheartedly, you will worthy, you will make things happen. You will make good choices. So I want to go back to that idea about the 2 shampoos on the shelf. And the thing that I really want you to think about is get curious about every single product in your home. Because and start with your shampoo. Pick up your shampoo, go to the website of the company. And the company's going to tell you on their website page what they're about. And because then you're going to get a feel for the company, you're going to get an understanding of what's their purpose, what are they trying to do, what is that dollar that you spend with them, what change are they making in the world. If you can't find anything on safety, environment, ingredients, transparency, then I would say, why now do you want to support your dollar there, even if it's $4, $5, $20, $100? Do you want to spend your money there? Because guaranteed, at various price points, you can find a company that's up for good. The second thing I want you to look at is how are products packaged. Even their packaging they're used. Arbonne's moved to, for example, with our products, that we are not putting out in the world any more new plastic. So what that means, all of our new plastics that's coming out is 100% recycled compostable plastic. So that means it's been reused, right? Or we moved to glass jars, which has reduced 125,000 pounds of plastic in the world each year. Like, that's ridiculous, right? So there's other companies who are doing that too. So it's like, what are they doing with their packaging? Even that. The other thing I want to talk about is one more thing. What was the other thing? I had a little point. Sorry. Oh, just how transparent they are. Because if somebody's proud about what they do or who they are or what they're putting in their ingredients, they're going to tell you about it. Because why would they, right? Like, it's so super smart. So if you want to just start with there, I think is a great place to start. And then if you're curious about, hey, does somebody know about a company that maybe offers amazing alternatives for healthy choices, but it doesn't break the bank? Can you help me? There, people are going to let you know because people are shopping for this and people want this.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that, and I think that there's such a better energy that comes from making an empowered choice because of what it's doing for our health and what it's doing for the environment and what it's doing for the world versus, well, like versus a price point, right? And so, and when we actually inject that energy into our shopping, that gives our shopping power. That gives us power. That's empowering. And you know what? That trickles into every other area of our life, right?
It does. It completely does, because, now we're looking at getting a green vehicle, and I know there's lots of disagreement, but we're just looking at what else can we do. It's like momentum. It's like when you have, you're on a roll about, just making choices that you get this, oh, I can do this. Okay, now I can do this. And now I can do that. Yeah. The one thing I do want to use as an example, though, is parabens. Like, parabens are linked to breast cancer. The study is there. It's been there since 15 years that the study has been there. So if everybody bought a product that didn't contain parabens, that chemical that they have to use as the preservative would have to go away because nobody's buying it. Do you see? That's what you're meaning when you say your vote with your dollar. Exactly. So I would say, like, that's how you can make change. If you feel like, oh, you should be like buying that shampoo and going, yes, I changed the world today with my one vote on my $1 of where I spend. Isn't that empowering?
So empowering. And that's how I feel. I mean, this is a whole other call, but veganism, right? Like, that's how I feel about what we're ingesting. And I totally agree. And I love this topic so much. And bottom line is that it's time for all of us to step into our power and begin feeling empowered by where we put our money. And the better that we do at that, the better this world will be, right? And so, Terri, I love this conversation. We could talk for hours. I know.
Come join us. We'll have a little chat. We could talk.
Yeah. But let us know, like, how do you work with people? Like, obviously, so you're a consultant with Arbonne. I know that you work with families. I know that this is a big passion of yours to help them make this transition as well. So share a little bit about that. And I'm going to post your website up here so people can go check out the product line.
Sure. So, when I was asked this past weekend about what business am I in, I was like, instantly I knew this. I am the business of changing one household at a time to safer, cleaner products, not only for themselves, but for the planet. And that's it. And that's not just Arbonne products, people. Like, I know a bunch of other products that I don't support, but I support them. And I'm just the vehicle to share that, right? Because one person at a time can make change. So how I work with people is, I really ask them, what is the biggest area that you want to change in your life? What does that look like? Whether that is with the products that you use, whether it's what's coming into your home, or whether it's what you're using in single-use plastics and just want to make a change. I'm just passionate about education and empowering people to do that. So yes, obviously it starts with maybe a toothpaste or whatever, and I can help you with that with Arbonne. But I also know a wealth of women through Happy Healthy Women who are amazing people who also can add to your knowledge. So I guess I look at myself as being a connector and also a community builder for change.
Mm-hmm. Yes, absolutely. And you've got some great events coming up. So for anyone who's interested in what Terri has to offer, you can check out her site. But you have some great events coming up. Did you want to share anything about those in the Coquitlam branch?
Well, okay. So for me personally, I'm part of the market. This market idea is so fantastic. I love it. So I'm on Sunday. You're on throughout the week. What you're going to get from me on Sunday is we're going to talk makeup tips. So maybe for the holidays, but I'm going to do a little series of little videos and just doing little lives about things that you can do to alter and freshen up your makeup. That is on Sunday. I talk a lot about ingredients. If you haven't seen the video on here on this side, I have an event that's coming up next week, I think, about just ingredients that are just to be aware of and what you might want to remove.
It's very informative. It's like an incredible talk. So definitely check that out.
Yeah, it's a good one. And then I think at the branch, though, we have so many. I'm so excited. You have to check out our branch. It's Happy Healthy Women Coquitlam. We've got some new trailblazers. If you haven't seen them, they are amazing women. And they are offering huge valued events that I say are life-changing just by going to one of their events. And if you choose to work with them from a coaching perspective, your life will change for the better as well. Like, I think we just have to realize is that we are all on a journey. And if we choose to be a little bit better, the world would be great.
Exactly. One step at a time, one choice at a time. That just makes me feel so good thinking about it. So, okay, you are totally the highest vibing person on the planet right now. I love you. I have loved chatting with you. You're the best. And thank you so much for being here. This has been such a great chat, and I'm so grateful for you in our collective. You're an incredible leader. Thank you, Terri. I love you.
You're welcome. It's so good. Nat, I honor you. And, you know, it all starts with an idea. And you started with this idea of how can I authentically connect with other business owners? And look what you've created. And now we're going global. So
Yeah.
I have to say, I talked a lot about happy, healthy women this last weekend. So we could have new branches starting all around the world. And I think that that is the essence of what's changed. Because when we empower women, we change communities. And that is the other mission that we are both about. And I'm just so honored and thankful for you.
Thank you, girl. Likewise, and thanks to all of our leaders, all of our incredible leaders, for being here. And if you are looking to step into your leadership as well, touch base with us. Right now, like, the world is your oyster, right? I mean, it's unfortunate what's going on in the world, but we are all online. And so if you are looking to promote your business and kick it up a notch, then we've got you. So thank you, Terri. Have a wonderful day, everybody. Terri, you're the best. I love you. Have a great day, everybody. Take care.